Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. It is Monday. I'm sorry this video is going out so late, but we are here to talk about books again, specifically books that I have written. So, we are back on my author's page in four, five, 5 days. No, it is 4 days time. I get to change this to say 24. That is correct. My birthday is on Friday. Um, so yeah, we're back on my Amazon page. We're gonna go straight over to my books. And we're going to talk about the book that is okay. You'll see two on here. Sneak peek. We'll be talking about Dear Love next time. For now, we are going to talk about Don't Stop, Just Go, which is another book I wrote while I was in high school. This will be available on March 24th, both Kindle and paperback copies of it. Um, this is this is a book that has caused me the most pain and suffering for this year. I have had this book written since I was probably 16, and both my editor and I, who is Haley, in case you guys didn't know, most of the time, every once in a while, Taylor collaborates with us. There will be a book going out next year that Taylor and Haley are highly involved in. But so normally Haley is my editor for my books. Yeah, this one we couldn't agree on. Um, this is pretty much as high school written as it can be, to the point that Haley and I have spent the last couple of months looking at this book, going, how do we make this better? And it got to the point where I was like, well, this book has to go out in March. So, without her knowledge originally, I just put it up for pre order, called it good, and then I shot her a text and I was like, hey, um, so don't worry about the book. And she was like, oh, what do you mean? And I was like, well, I just kind of put it up for pre order. And she was like, why? And yeah, the answer to that question is it was either I put it up for pre-order as is, or I scrapped the entire book and had to rework my calendar and find a new book for this year to go out in March. Out of everything I've written from my high school years, this is the one that has a decent story to it, but I can't stand it. And I feel like all authors or songwriters or just people who do things creatively have one project that they hate. This is mine. Um, which you might be asking yourself, well, why are you making a video about it? Yeah, that's because I didn't want to rework my YouTube schedule. And also, you know, like I said, I think it has a good story for it. It's just so different than what I'm doing now. And without rewriting the entire thing, I couldn't make it where I wanted it to be. So like Dear Bully, which we talked about, that one was also written in high school and so was Dear Help. Yeah, the difference there is well, one, Dear Bully I published right after high school with a publishing company, and Dear Help went out last year after a lot of refining and editing to make it where I wanted it to be. Same thing with Dear Twin, and now Dear Love. I only finished writing that in December. So, like, if you compare those, obviously you guys can't compare Dear Love yet, but if you compare the four books of that series, you can kind of see where high school me was with Dear Bully. You can see kind of high school slash adult me with Dear Help because Haley and I went back through that one. And then by the time you get to Dear Twin and Dear Love, you're like, yeah, no, this is not high school anymore. They're all written in the same way, but you can tell the difference at this point. But so Don't Stop, Just Go is a story told from the point of view of three people on a matter that distorted friendships and relationships during their time in high school. So this book has three parts to it. It's nice and short, don't worry. But so part one is Dustin's entire story. You get everything from his point of view. He's witty, funny, caring, and a bit overbearing. He missed his two best friends. Can he find happiness? Part two, you get Heather's side of the story. Um, so Heather is the main girl who never had it easy. Dustin was her best friend till things blew up. Can she fix their friendship? And then you have part three, which is Dominic's side of the story, or Nick, as everyone calls him. But Nick used to live in town but moved away years ago. He was always in love with Heather. Can he get the girl of his dreams? Um, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. At this point, all my books have trigger warnings right in them. And if I could show you, but it's not gonna let me even look at like a preview or anything because it's not out yet. I would show you the trigger warnings because I can tell you right now there's depression and suicide and talks of other things along those lines, grief and stuff. And yeah, point is, this is the book that has caused me the most pain in the last like 4 years of my writing career because I didn't know what to do with it. So I figured, you know what? Put it out. If people like it, great. If people hate it, you know what? I hate it too. So I'm not going to be offended. And it's kind of a whatever. But I like sharing this side of myself with you guys. And I know we've been doing this every Monday so far, and we're going to continue to do it. As I have more books to talk about, we'll talk about those. With other Mondays, they might just be a short little life update. Like, we'll see where the year takes us. Obviously, I'll have two more books this year to talk to you guys about because I'll have three books going out this year. Um, Same way we talked about Dear Bully, which went out forever ago, but we talked about the three books that went out last year already. So we're averaging about three books a year right now. It's been easy so far because they're all nice and short. I have one more book I need to write for this year, and then I can focus all of my attention on my big book for next year, um, which we will be talking about probably later this year, at least somewhat, because that is the one that I'm really excited about. Not that I'm not excited about everything I write, but that's one of those ones that I like dived into and it's probably about half written. So I need to write the rest of it and then go through the editing process. And that's the one that Taylor and Haley are so excited about that we'll probably be editing for 6 months at least, which concerns me because I really hate the editing process, which is why I have friends helping me. Because if it was up to me, I would finish writing something and I'd be like, yeah, no, that looks good. And then, you know, Haley comes in and she goes, so this makes no sense and you never explain it throughout the rest of the book. And me myself, because I'm the writer, author, I never would have caught that because in my head I'm like, oh yeah, no, like I know what happened. But if I don't explain it in the book, obviously we have a problem. So, but yeah, so this will be available on March 24th. Um, I was going to say it's a very small, a lot of my books so far have been incredibly small. Um, Dear Twin, we talked about like 107 pages. Yeah, none of them are large books so far. They're all like sit down and read in an afternoon type thing. Um, Goodness, don't tell us sit down and read in like an hour kind of book, which Alphabet 13 is getting. Is it one or two? I think it's getting two new books this year. It might be two next year though, but we're expanding on this. So far on our authors page, okay, I don't remember if we talked about it. We'll talk about it really fast here. This is the original Dear Bully, the one that I did through the publishing company. This is the one that I put out as a second edition copy. It has a new cover. It has the same thing going on here, but we have, I believe, yeah, I gave it the trigger warning list. I didn't change really anything other than that, and I even kept that it was published through the publishing company kind of thing. But this is a second edition, and therefore all of the money will actually go to me instead of the publishing company that I've seen next to nothing from. Not to hate on the publishing company, they were great. They were amazing when I worked with them, but it's a cheap book and I see next to nothing out of it. So from Amazon, I see a whole lot more, which is amazing. But yeah, so we have on the author's page. We have 7 titles. 2 of them are pretty much exactly the same, just this is a second edition copy. And then, um, funny enough, you guys will, if you've watched the other videos, you'll notice that I changed the covers of both Dear Help and Dear Twin. I did not release those as second copies because they both went out last year, and I changed the covers at the very beginning of this year. So they weren't second editions, unlike Dear Bully went out in 2021. So yeah, no, I released it as a second edition. Um, which in our next Monday video, we are going to go into talking about how I do my covers. So I'm excited to share that with you guys. But if you guys enjoyed the video and maybe think about taking a look at Don't Stop, Just Go, or at the very least, I'd suggest taking a look at the Dear You series because book 4 goes out in July and book 5 will be going out either later this year or early next year, I believe. So, if you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.